When you go silent, you trigger something ancient in her mind, something she can't explain but can't ignore. Disappearing from a woman's life isn't just an action, it's a psychological spark. And what follows is a chain reaction most men don't even realize they're setting off. You think you're pulling back to gain clarity. Maybe you're trying to create space. Maybe it's even a power move. But in her mind, it doesn't play out like that. Not even close. Whether you were just talking, dating casually, or deeply involved, when you suddenly disappear, her brain doesn't go quiet. It goes into overdrive. And what happens next is not random. It's a day-by-day unraveling, a sequence, a pattern. This isn't about manipulation. This isn't about games. This is about understanding feminine psychology at its most raw, emotional, and instinctive level. Because while men often process things logically and gradually, women tend to process emotionally and internally, especially when they feel something has been taken away. But here's the twist. She doesn't always react how you'd expect. Sometimes it's silence, sometimes it's anger, sometimes she posts selfies or vanishes from social media altogether, and sometimes she just pretends like you never mattered. But underneath all of that is a mental storm, and it plays out differently with each passing day. The more you understand that storm, the more you'll understand women, especially in situations where power, emotion, and connection collide. This video is not about bashing women or glorifying disappearing acts. It's about awareness, insight. Because most men play the game without knowing the rules, then get shocked by the outcome. You want to know what happens in her mind after day 1, day 3, day 7? You're about to find out. Let's break it down, day by day. Day 1. He's testing me. The moment you disappear, her first thought isn't panic. It's strategy. She tells herself, he's pulling back to see how I'll react. On day 1, she doesn't believe you're gone. She believes you're watching, waiting, scoring her response. So what does she do? She plays it cool. She mirrors your silence. Maybe posts something cute on Instagram. She wants you to see that she's unbothered, even if she's thinking about you every 10 minutes. This is the first power shift. Not because she's hurt, but because she assumes this is a game. He wants to see if I'll chase. I won't. You're no longer the man she was texting last night. You're now a silent test she believes she must pass. She convinces herself. He'll come back when he sees I'm not desperate. What most men don't realize is, this moment right here is when her mind becomes emotionally alert. Everything you do, or don't do, from this point forward starts getting analyzed. She might replay your last text, reread your compliments, wonder if she said something wrong. But she won't reach out, not yet. She wants to win this first move battle. And the worst part? She thinks you're doing the exact same thing. She thinks you're playing her. Day 2. Why isn't he chasing? By day 2, the test starts to feel unstable. What she thought was a temporary move. Now it's lingering. And that's when her mind shifts from, he's testing me, to, wait, why isn't he chasing? This is where the self-doubt starts leaking in. Not fully, not visibly, but just enough to bother her. She still won't reach out. But she's watching now, refreshing your profile, checking your status, looking for signs that you're lurking, or worse, moving on. See, day 1 was about her ego. Day 2 touches her insecurity. She starts wondering, is he losing interest? Did I overestimate how much he liked me? Was I just a moment for him? Now she's in conflict. Half of her still wants to play it cool. The other half wants answers. But she won't ask. Not yet. Instead, she begins baiting. Subtle, calculated moves to provoke a reaction. Picture this. She posts a photo looking extra good. Different vibe, different energy. It's not for her followers, it's for you. She's thinking, let me remind him what he's ignoring. But when you still don't react, no like, no message, nothing, that's when the anxiety starts building under the surface. What hurts her most on day 2 isn't your silence. It's your lack of pursuit. Because deep down, every woman wants to feel like she's worth chasing. especially by the man who once gave her attention. And if she starts to believe that you're not chasing because you don't care, that's when the questions get louder. But don't mistake her silence for peace. Her mind is racing. She won't show it yet. She still wants to look strong. But day 2 is when your absence becomes a threat, not a game. Day 3. I need to win this. By day 3, she's no longer wondering where you went. She's now telling herself she can't lose. The silence has shifted from confusion to competition. It's no longer about connection or even closure. It's about control. Her mind starts digging through every past moment, every message, every little gesture. Not because she misses you, but because she's trying to figure out how this happened. How the guy who used to show interest is now completely detached. This is where pride takes over. She can't admit, even to herself, that it bothers her. So instead, she rewrites the story in her head. He's not ignoring me. He's just immature. He probably wants me to chase. He's not going to win. I don't need this. I'm better than this. But no matter how much she rationalizes, the truth is, she's feeling challenged, because she knows how men usually react to her. They cave. They come back. They text. And the fact that you haven't yet, that bothers her way more than she'll admit. Now she's focused on winning the emotional battle. You're no longer just a man who disappeared. You're now a symbol of resistance. And beating that resistance becomes her new obsession. She might start comparing herself to other women, thinking about who else you might be talking to, wondering if she misread your interest. And with every unanswered thought, the need to win grows stronger. This is the moment where detachment becomes power, when your silence begins to reshape her image of you, not as a man who ghosted, but as a man who's hard to get. That to many women is rare and dangerously attractive. She's no longer just trying to figure you out. She's now trying to get ahead of you, trying to emotionally outplay you, trying to convince herself, and maybe the world, that she's unfazed. But inside, the stakes have changed. It's not about feelings anymore. It's about pride, about not being the one who cared more. And whether she admits it or not, she wants to win. Day 4. Wait, did I mess up? By day 4, the game slows down, and the pressure creeps in. She's gone from silent confidence to quiet doubt. Now the question haunting her isn't, why isn't he chasing? It's deeper, more personal. Did I push him away? This is where her emotional walls start to crack. All the pride, all the ego, it softens just a bit. Because when a woman starts replaying the last moments between you, she isn't just analyzing, she's questioning herself. Did I say too much? Was I too distant? Was I too available? And this is where most men make a mistake. You think your silence is mysterious, powerful, smart. But if you're doing it just to feel in control, then you're not leading the situation. You're just hiding from it. This isn't about chasing women. It's about knowing when you're being intentional and when you're just acting out of fear. Because if you disappeared just to test her, or to punish her, or to avoid vulnerability, that's not strength. That's avoidance. And while she's sitting there questioning if she did something wrong, you should be asking yourself the same. Not every woman is playing games. Not every woman deserves silence. Sometimes, your emotional distance says more about your wounds than your worth. Here's what most guys don't get. Day 4 isn't just a moment of weakness for her. It's also an opportunity. Because if she starts believing that she messed up, she might shift her entire energy. She might pull back completely. She might internalize the rejection. And once that happens, good luck rebuilding the connection. So before you celebrate her doubt, ask yourself, is this the woman you actually want? Or are you just feeding your ego because it feels good to be missed? Silence has power, yes. But silence without clarity? That just creates confusion, and usually ends in regret. Day 4 is a crossroad. She's asking herself hard questions. Men need to start doing the same. Because if you're disappearing without purpose, you're not creating mystery. You're just creating distance. Day 5. Time to make him jealous. Now it flips. She's done questioning. She's done wondering what went wrong. Day 5 is where she stops looking inward and starts aiming outward. If she feels ignored, she's not going to beg for attention. She's going to force you to notice her. And the fastest way to do that? Jealousy. This isn't always loud or obvious. She might not post some wild story with another guy. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's psychological. But the goal is the same. Make you feel what she's been feeling. Uncertainty. And here's where most guys lose focus. They fall for the bait. They see that selfie with the flirty caption and start spiraling. They react. They text. They break silence. And just like that, she wins. Because here's what you need to understand. Jealousy is a control move. It's her way of regaining the upper hand in a situation she's starting to feel powerless in. She might not even want the attention of other men. But if it gets a reaction out of you, it works. And if you're the type who gets easily triggered, who gets emotional when she looks too happy without you, then you're playing right into it. This is where emotional discipline matters. You don't ignore her out of spite, and you don't engage out of fear. You stay grounded because you know the difference between what's real and what's performative. And let's be honest. If a few days of silence can push her into performative attention-seeking behavior, that should tell you something. It doesn't mean she's immature. It just means she doesn't want to lose. And when a woman doesn't want to lose, she doesn't sit around waiting. She acts. But here's where it gets interesting. Jealousy never comes from a place of true indifference. It comes from someone who still wants your attention. Badly. So don't be fooled by the noise. The louder she gets online, the quieter she's feeling inside. And the more she tries to provoke you, the more she's revealing just how much your silence is affecting her. Day 6. I don't need him anyway. This is the emotional defense phase. She's done feeling confused. She's done trying to win. Now she flips the narrative in her own mind. I don't need him anyway. It's not that she suddenly stopped caring. It's that caring started to feel too vulnerable, too risky. So instead of chasing the connection, she protects her pride. This is when you'll hear phrases like, I'm actually glad he disappeared. I was settling. He wasn't even my type like that. She's rewriting the story to feel in control again. Because whether she admits it or not, she feels rejected. And the human brain doesn't like rejection. It rewrites it, especially when ego and emotion collide. For men watching this happen, here's what you need to understand. She hasn't moved on. She's coping. And she's doing it by detaching emotionally, on the surface. Underneath, the storm is still there. But it's now buried under self-talk, distractions, and a little fake confidence. This is the day where women pretend they've healed. They go out, stay busy, flood themselves with distractions, but none of it is about peace. It's about avoiding the silence you left behind. Now here's the part most guys miss. You'll look at her and think she's over you. You'll assume she never cared. But often, this is when her emotions are at their most fragile, because she's convincing herself to move on before she's actually ready. And some men, instead of recognizing this, they chase validation. They try to re-enter her life when she's in this I don't need him energy. And they get hit with coldness, attitude, or fake indifference. It's not that she doesn't care. It's that she's trying not to care anymore. So what should you do? Don't interrupt the process. Let her go through it. Let her rebuild herself without needing to check if she still wants you. Because if she's meant to circle back, she will. But on day 6, she's not there yet. Right now, she just wants to feel like she's in control of her emotions again, even if it means lying to herself. Day 7. Let me show him what he lost. Now the energy changes. She's done being confused. She's done pretending she doesn't care. Day 7 is all about revenge through evolution. She wants to prove a point. This isn't about missing you anymore. It's about making you miss her. And the way she does that? By becoming everything you didn't expect. More confident, more attractive, more unreachable. It's the glow-up phase. And it's not just about looks. It's about image, attitude, and presence. She wants to walk into a room or post online and make you say, "Damn, did I really let that go?" But here's the truth. She's not doing all this because she's over you. She's doing it because of you. Your absence created a wound. This is her way of healing it. By proving she's still desirable, still powerful, still wanted. For men, this is where the regret usually starts to creep in. You see her changing. You notice she's not reaching out, not breaking down, not chasing. Instead, she's leveling up and making it loud. But don't get it twisted. Her motivation still comes from a deep place of emotion. Because people don't try to prove their value unless they felt undervalued. So if you see her shining, posting wins, smiling everywhere, know that it's not always coming from peace. Sometimes it's coming from pain. A pain she wants to turn into power. And this is where most men make a critical mistake. They come back too soon. Not because they've changed, but because they feel left behind. Because now she looks unavailable. Now she seems hard to reach. And suddenly, the guy who disappeared is trying to re-enter what he walked away from. Here's the lesson. If you disappeared thinking she'd fall apart, don't be surprised when she evolves instead. And if you come back expecting the same version of her you left behind, you might not even recognize who she's become. Day 7 isn't about you anymore. It's about her narrative. And right now, that narrative is, let me show him what he gave up. Day 8. Should I reach out first? By day 8, something dangerous starts to happen. She starts thinking about breaking the silence. Not because she's weak, not because she's desperate, but because the silence has lasted too long, and now it's eating at her confidence. You see, in the beginning she believed you'd reach out. She thought you were just pulling back to make her chase. But now she's wondering if your silence is real. If maybe you've actually moved on. If maybe this is over. And that's when the real emotional war begins. Because she wants to protect her pride. But her curiosity is louder than her ego now. She starts asking herself, what if he's just waiting for me to make a move? What if I'm wasting time being silent while he's slipping away? Her mind spirals between logic and emotion. She'll type a message, then delete it, then type it again, then stare at it for 10 minutes. Because the fear isn't in reaching out. The fear is in not getting a response. This is where men need to wake up. Because if a woman who once had pride, power, and confidence is now considering texting you first, it means she's crossed a mental threshold most women hate to admit. She still cares. But be clear. This isn't a green light to play with her emotions. If she reaches out and you use it to stroke your ego, you lose her respect. If she gets silence again, she won't come back a second time. Women can handle heartbreak, but they rarely tolerate humiliation. So if she decides to reach out, it's not weakness, it's courage, because she's risking her emotional safety to reopen a door you closed. And if she doesn't reach out, don't assume it's because she moved on. Sometimes silence is just a woman choosing dignity over confusion. Men need to understand this. If she's thinking about texting you on day 8, she's not over you, she's at war with herself. And whether she acts on that or not, she'll remember exactly how it felt to even consider it. Day 9. He's probably with someone else. This is where it hits her. Not the silence, not the waiting, but the image of you with someone else. By day 9, her brain isn't just questioning you, it's replacing you with another woman. And that's where the spiral gets real. See, it's one thing to feel ignored. It's another to believe you've already moved on. Her thoughts start racing. He hasn't reached out. Maybe he's already replaced me. What if he was talking to someone else this whole time? Was I just a placeholder? It's no longer about communication. It's about betrayal. Even if you two weren't official, even if it was casual, it doesn't matter. The moment she thinks someone else has your attention, her emotional walls come crashing down. Not because she wants to control you, but because she hates the feeling of being forgotten. And let's be honest, this is where a lot of men mess up. You think being silent means being mysterious. But when that silence gets too long, it opens the door for assumptions. And those assumptions, they rarely work in your favor. She starts comparing herself, wondering what the other girl has that she didn't. Even if she's the most confident woman in the world, even if she knows her worth, the thought of being replaced stings. And here's what happens next. She starts to emotionally disconnect from you. Not out of peace, out of self-preservation. She tells herself, he's moved on, so I have to move on too. But deep down she's hurt, not because you're gone, but because you didn't even leave a trace. No explanation, no goodbye, just absence. That's what cuts the deepest. Not the silence, the imagination that fills the silence. And once she's convinced herself you've moved on, she'll start to build walls you'll never get through again. So before you disappear, thinking she'll chase, understand this. By day 9, she's not waiting. She's mourning the version of you she thought she had. And if she thinks someone else has replaced her, you may have just lost her for good. Day 10. Now I really want him. 10 days. That's all it takes for silence to turn into obsession. But not the kind of obsession you think. By day 10, she's not just missing you. She's craving the closure, the validation, the control she feels like she lost. At this point, you're no longer just a man who disappeared. You've become a symbol, a question mark she can't erase, a ghost that haunts her ego and her emotions at the same time. And here's where it gets wild. She wants you more now than when you were available. Not because of what you said. Not because of how you made her feel back then. But because of the space you left behind. In your absence, her mind built a version of you that feels more powerful, more mysterious, more important than who you actually were. And now she wants that version. The version her emotions created. The one her imagination kept alive. This is why men often get shocked when a woman, who seemed distant or cold before, suddenly wants them back after they disappear. It's not always about love. It's about unfinished emotion. That's what most men don't realize. She doesn't want you because you're gone. She wants you because you became unreachable. And for many women, what's unreachable becomes irresistible. But don't confuse this with genuine connection. It's not about your character. It's about the chase her mind created. Because if you return too soon, too soft, too eager, it breaks the illusion. And she loses interest all over again. By day 10, she's built a fantasy. One where you're stronger, colder, more dominant, and she wants to conquer that fantasy, not necessarily you. This is where the balance shifts. She might reach out, she might not. But the desire is burning now. Not for a conversation, not even for clarity, but to feel like she matters to the one who went silent. And if she still hears nothing from you, that desire might grow into obsession, or collapse into indifference. It depends on how strong her ego is, and how deep her feelings were. But on day 10, just know this. Now, she really wants you, even if she'll never say it. Let's be real. Most men think disappearing makes them look strong. But here's the truth. Silence doesn't make you powerful, unless you know why you're being silent. Otherwise, you're just running. From her, from connection, from your own emotions. And here's the controversial part. Sometimes, the reason she wants you more after you disappear is because deep down, she never truly respected you when you were available. Yeah, let that sink in. It's not love she's chasing. It's the feeling of finally wanting what she couldn't control. If this video made you think, good. That was the point. Too many men sleepwalk through emotional situations, then act surprised when they lose control of them. If you've ever been in this situation, or you're in it right now, drop a comment. Tell me what you've seen, what you've felt, or what went down. I'll be in the comments, reading, replying, connecting with you. Because this isn't just a video. It's a space where men finally get to understand what's really going on behind all the silence, games, and emotions. Let's talk.